Hello, everybody. We've got another show that promises to be mildly interesting for your listening and watching enjoyment. First, the AI takeover of search continues. Well, I mean, the AI takeover of everything continues. But you should be aware of what's happening in online search if you own a business, including a law firm business. Then we've got Nick Werker of Answering Legal. He's here to answer our legal related questions. I mean, that seems perfect. Finally, Nick helps us to figure out how much the weirdest jobs in the world pay. So what's been interesting to me personally and to some of the folks I've been talking to over the course of the last, year or so, just about, is the relationship that Google search has had with AI. And yes, I know there are other search engines. And yes, I also know that most people don't care about those. So August 2024, Google does this core update, which is basically focused on content quality. And what that did was that fucked a lot of law firms, like a lot of law firms, especially small firms that had relied on like blogging and content production, website updates to try to generate business. A lot of the folks I talked to, their traffic online was down as much as 50%. Their leads were suffering. Now, the good news there is that most law firms actually do their best business in referrals and generating referrals from referral partners and from former clients. So it didn't really kill their revenue, but it definitely hurt their search traffic. Now, the thing you should be aware of is Google is leaning even further into prioritizing content and AI features within their systems. So if you've been doing Google searches over the last 6 months or so, you probably noticed a couple things. Well, you've noticed at least one thing, is that there's this AI overview feature now in Google, which is basically like at the top of most research results, you've now got this AI overview that's been produced by their generative AI engine, right? So I'm looking at that. What do I see? I see a summary of the topic I have searched for, and I've also got links to specific websites. So check that out sometime. Do a search for a question a potential client of yours would have. And what you're going to see is that there are a lot of law firm blogs covered. And in some cases, when there's not a lot of content on a particular niche search or a long tail keyword search, what you're seeing is Google's just like, maybe you should go talk to these attorneys, which is kind of staggering because now if you've done a really nice job building out your website, producing content effectively, having a content marketing strategy, getting a lot of backlinks, well, guess what? Now you've got sort of a free ad on the top of the real paid ads in Google. Now I think they're going to turn that around in a little bit, and you're not going to see these sort of ads functionally in the AI overview. Although there will be ads available in the AI overview, and they're already experimenting with that. But take a look at that, try it out, see what happens, see if you rank, see if you are included, I should say, in those AI overviews. So that's the first thing to be aware of. Next thing to be aware of is on the left-hand side of the screen, you've got something called AI mode now, which you can click into. You don't have to, it's not going to show up for you automatically. It's still going to look like the regular old search tab, but on the left-hand side, you're going to have this thing called AI mode. And that's effectively a conversation that you can have with a generative AI. It basically give you like a version of the AI overview. And then you can iterate with it. You can have a conversation. And you say, well, what about this? And what about that? And can you refine the search in some way? Which I think is actually awesome. So like the problem with Google search for me, or any web search, has always been, if I fuck up my search some way, it's not refined enough. Now I got to go back and edit the search, right? Even if I'm putting parameters around that search, I have to edit the search, or I have to conduct an entirely new search. I can't work within the constructs of the search results that just popped up, really. But with generative AI, now I can have a conversation with the search engine and be like, hey, I need this, or I want to refine that, or I was actually looking for this. And that's great. This is going to be very dated, but remember the library? Yeah, when you used to go to the library and you were looking for something, you could look around the library for a little bit, but get this is fucking crazy. There was a human where you could be like, hey, I'm looking for stuff on this topic. Can you help me? And you could have an actual conversation with that person. Now, I know humans don't talk to other people anymore. I get it. But I guess the generative AI tool is close enough, right? So this is really helpful, I think. And to me, this is a better version of search than the traditional web search. Now, that's a good thing because this is what search is going to be. I got news for you. There ain't going to be any more Google AI mode. Google AI mode is going to be Google full stop. It's going to be the same thing for any other search engine. Now, the other thing I noticed over the last couple weeks or so is AI overviews are now in the people also ask section of Google search results. And if you don't know what these are, scroll down about maybe like a third of the way down the page on a lot of searches, and you've got this like people also ask section, which are related searches that people have actually done. So first of all, this is a great way to generate content for your business, but it's also a good idea. It's a good way to explore more in a certain topic area. Now, when you have the people also ask section, they've got the search question. And then if you click the caret, you'll see the actual response to that. And so it used to be just generic search results that appeared or generic text. Now the AI overviews are also in the people also ask section. So there's another way for your content to be featured. It's kind of crazy the speed at which this is picking up. And I think a lot of people have not necessarily delved into it or noticed it yet. So that's why I wanted to address it. So it means two things for you, really. One is that leaning into organic content makes a lot more sense. And that's always been something that lawyers could be very good at if they put time and effort into it and, through some effective keywords in there. Second piece is, you're going to have to be aware of how search works in an AI world for legal consumers if you want to be able to market to legal consumers effectively. And even in some cases, your referral sources. Google search is going to become AI search. So is Bing. There are already AI search engines like Perplexity that people are using. So there's a lot of stuff out there in search that you need to be looking at. And if you have a digital marketing agency that you work with or want to start working with one, talk to somebody who does this every day and they'll be way more on top of it than I am. Google search is dead. Long live Google search. Next, pick up the phone. It's for you. And it's Nick Werker of Answering Legal. We promise he won't just make heavy breathing sounds into the receiver for several minutes. At least, I'm pretty sure he won't. Well, I've effectively run out of things to say, which is awkward because we're only 1/3 of the way through the podcast. So I'm just going to run away. No, I'm not. I'm just fucking with you. That sounds awful. And let's be honest, I'm not running that much anymore. Now we're going to interview our guest, but our guest had a request. So I'm going to say this now. My name is Jared Correia, and legal tech is kind of my bag. Like James Brown. Papa's got a brand new bag. All right, enough foreplay. We've got Nick Werker, the marketing director at Answering Legal. Nick, the hardest working man in show business.
I have a lot of nicknames that have to do with my name. Worker Bee, Twerker.
That's unfortunate. This is a little bit of a weird thing for me because you had this everything except the law podcast, which I'm not sure if that's still ongoing or if it's in hiatus, but you've interviewed me probably a dozen times, but this is the first time I get to interview you. So I'm personally very excited.
I'm very excited. It's on a hiatus. It will reemerge at some point in the future, and then we will interview you for the 13th.
Oh, hell yeah. Exciting. All right, so let me start here. We usually like to start with people. We like to do the origin story. So how did you, talented Renaissance man like yourself, come to work for Answering Legal in this marketing director role?
Marketing director role. Okay. I'll give you God's honest truth. I spent 2 years at an upstate SUNY university.
Hell yeah. The SUNY system. I'm well acquainted.
I did not go to any of my classes. I had other activities on my mind. And so I came home to beautiful Long Island and attended Stony Brook. And my friend's family was starting a company about an answering service. And I asked, I swear.
Oh, I didn't know this.
Times.
I'm glad you're going through this. Keep going.
Dude, I don't know how I ended up here. It's like one of those things where Inception, like if you can't remember how you got there, it must be a dream.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
So I don't know how I got here. And so this is all fake. So they're starting this company. I'm like, what is it? They're like, it's an answering service. I don't understand the concept at all. They're like, but you need a job because otherwise your family's going to hate you for living at home and doing nothing. So I came to work here. Long story short, I was a terrible salesman. And they were like, well, we have absolutely no marketing, no website, and people don't believe anything that we tell them about our business.
Problems.
So you should like build a website and do all that stuff. 11 years later, I think I have some tiny semblance of what it takes to do marketing for B2B and talk to lawyers and help them capture more leads and run their practice more effectively. But that's really it. I tripped and fell into this.
That's crazy.
And that's it.
I never knew that was the case. I had no idea you were friends with somebody who was starting this company. Okay. When did you start at Answering Legal? How long ago was that?
So they started it, I want to say the end or the beginning, March of 2014. That's what it was. And I was officially kicked out of my SUNY school. When do you get kicked out? September? And so I went to work for them in November of 2014.
So you actually got booted from the SUNY. And then
I think they like politely put me on like
or
academic probation.
Was that Stony Brook? Did you get kicked out?
No, Stony Brook
kicked out
welcomed
of
me
two schools?
No, just
okay.
one.
Okay, well, that's pretty. I mean, this sounds like the origin story for the dudes from Steely Dan. I'm not gonna lie.
I don't know the origin story, but I do. I love Steely Dan.
This could have gone.
Finally, I get one of your musical references.
I know that's because I'm old. That's why no one gets my musical references. So one thing I glossed over when I was doing the Nick Werker origin story is, what does Answering Legal do for those curious?
For anyone curious?
Anyone.
Answering Legal is a full service call center, you could really call it, that specializes in handling phone calls, delivering messages, and making sure that the appropriate parties get access to those messages for law firm owners, law firms across the U.S. Basically means that we act as your front end receptionist and help you basically put all of the information that you need from your intakes wherever they need to go. So your CRM, our mobile app, where else do people put messages in their case management softwares, all that sort of stuff. We also do we have a consultative approach. So it's like, how should I ask these questions? What questions should I ask? When should I call them back? What automations do you have that can send outbound text messages? So anything that you can probably think of, we have a solution for as far as answering your phones and making sure you're communicating with your clients.
That's pretty good. So virtual receptionist service, but a little bit more than that, I would say.
Oh yeah, basically
a lot.
It's
let me rephrase, a lot more than that. How about that? That's better.
I try.
Use that in the marketing copy. All right,
I should.
Anything new going on in Answering Legal? New products, new features, offerings. Tell the people. The people demand more information.
Two new things. First, I will tell you a story.
In
my time as a very unsuccessful salesman here, I talked to a law firm owner. This is true. This is 10 years ago. I talked to a law firm owner who was in Connecticut, and he said he liked me a lot. And I swear to God, I didn't get the deal closed, and he liked me. He would call me just to talk, and I'd be like, "Are you ready?" And he'd be like, "No." He's
You're
like,
just
every
friends.
time, I swear. I'm like out of the office one day. I get a call. I'm like, yes, I'm finally going to get a sale and like not lose my job. And he's like, I got to tell you, every time that I want to hire somebody for my law firm, I'm very tech forward, and the way that I think is very tech forward. So I try to do that with technology. And I had this thought. I want to hire somebody to answer my phone in Spanish, but I want them to be able to be on a call with me and translate for me.
Oh.
Can you do that? And I was like, I'm going to try and make it happen. And I couldn't. And so I lost that sale. I wish I could remember that guy's name so I could tell you and out him for not buying from me.
That is really funny.
But we have this thing now where on demand, you can get a translator who will sit on your consultations or meetings or depositions, whatever kind of thing
Live.
you have to do. Live in 186 languages.
Oh, wow.
I swear they just did one in...
That's 6 more than I speak.
Only 6. Wow. Well, I'm the translator, so I speak all 186, and I just stay up 24 hours a day.
Amazing.
So there's that, and then we just released, which I still think no one is going to believe me, which is fine. You can call me and ask me. I'll say the same thing. A free AI-powered intake chatbot. So like a little web chat on your site. We train it specifically for your firm. So it has all of the information about you that you can possibly give to me. And it performs an intake on anybody who comes to your site and also answers their questions. Now, I'm sure if Jared visits your site, he might have some additional...
Oh, I'm going to fuck that thing up. But I won't visit the site. Don't worry.
I've tried. And here's a good one for you. So I did a test with this chatbot, right? And we built it for somebody's website. And it was like, oh, like, who are you contacting us on behalf of? Because I said I wasn't the person.
Yeah.
And I said, my dog, as in like my friend. And it was like, I swear, it said, well, that's a very unusual circumstance. And I was like, you know what? I'm kind of impressed by that.
That's such an AI response, though. So did you do dog, like DAWG? Like, this is my boy, my dog?
No, I think I wrote DOG, okay. But I...
Just clarifying.
Yeah.
You could try that next time.
I think maybe it would have had better context if I did DAWG. It would have been like, oh, your friend.
Yes.
But I said my dog.
All right. Those are available now, both those features.
Available now. So the live translation service is called Legal Video Calls. That is a paid service. You don't have to be an answering legal customer to get that.
Oh, okay. So standalone product. That's good to know.
Standalone product. It's $15 for 15 minutes of translation. And it's $15 for 15 minutes of translation when you go over. So it's just $1 a minute.
Gotcha.
And the AI intake chatbot, I swear, is free.
I believe you.
If you're not a customer, you can have it. If you are a customer, you can have it. We build it for you. It's really easy. You just give us a bunch of information and what you want us to ask the people who visit your site, and then you can test it. And it's pretty sick.
Does it have a fancy name?
No, I wish that it did have a fancy name, and I am the marketing guy. And I wanted to name it something like absurd.
Yes. We can workshop
but I think we're still working through that. They're like, no, we're going to go live without your absurd naming conventions for things.
Come on.
And just offer this.
Come on, guys.
Yeah. Come on. You got to know, somebody's got to rein me in.
I got one more answering legal question for you. I'm sort of impressed that you've been at the same place for 11 years, like 12 years. That's a real deal. Like, you're kind of on the gold watch program. Like, how do you stick around at a company for that long? And then why don't you leave? Because people change jobs like they change underwear at this point, for being honest.
You know what? So it's truly that I've been friends with the family who owns it, and it's still family owned.
That's
I've been
awesome.
here.
Yeah.
And they treat me kind of good. And I know people probably say this, shout out to the team that I work with specifically, Tony, Giselle, Tyler, and Joe. They are some of my favorite people in the world. I don't want to leave them. And like, my whole life is here. You know, I live here with my wife. We have a pretty cool life together. And I like who I work with. And no one has really come to me and been like, hey, here's a boatload of money for you to leave. So I'm still here.
That's awesome. Joe, I engage with regularly. I think he's a good dude.
Joe's a good dude.
Let me ask you, you've got answering legal, you do intake stuff. Let me ask you that you probably get questions like this all the time. Do you have like best practice tips for law firm intake? I bet you do.
I really do, and I go deep on this, so I'm going to try and not talk your ear off.
Well, let's see. Let's do the 30,000 foot overview, and then we'll get deep on it if we need to.
30,000 foot overview is if you don't have an outlined process for intake, you don't do intake at all.
Yeah.
That encompasses what your plan is for when your phone rings, what your plan is for when somebody submits a web form, somebody talks to a chat, sends you a text, sends you an email. If you don't have a standardized approach on how you're going to engage with that person, you don't do intake.
Yeah.
And like largely I exist in the world of helping you answer phones, and making sure that like you call people back. I can't make you call anybody back. So when you get a bad review about I called him 3 times and I got him as a referral and no one ever called me back,
Right.
it's not on me. So stop complaining. But I'll say this, like, you know, your type of case, you know, the person that you're trying to help. But the one thing that I'm like really down a rabbit hole on is I've talked to thousands of lawyers and a lot of them have the same complaint over and over again. I'm sure you do have this too, is, oh, I get all these phone calls and the cases are no good. And the people like, you know, they can't afford it or they can't this, or like in personal injury, it's so crazy. They're like, oh, I'll help this person. And I'm like, but you don't know if you're asking the right questions, and it gives me a headache. And so the best example that I've seen of this lately is somebody posted this on LinkedIn, and I'm like a LinkedIn troll lurker, crazy person. And they wrote something about like asking deeper questions.
Okay. Yeah. So let's get deep on this. Like, how do you do that? Because I think a lot of law firms struggle with this.
So standard like legal intake is like, oh, say it's personal injury, right? Like, what's the injury that you sustained? And they'll be like, oh, like my back hurts, I have back pain, and I went to the hospital and they did an x-ray and like X, Y, and Z. And the person or the law firm will be like, oh, well, they're not in a lot of pain. They're not this, they're not that. Like, oh, it's not really a good case. Like, it's this. And then somebody wrote, they ask, is there something that you can't do now that you used to be able to do because of like the injury? Isn't that a better question? Oh, like, I have trouble walking up and down the stairs, and like I have to do that for my job because I work at a catering hall, and like the kitchen is downstairs. I used to do catering a lot, and the thing was downstairs. You get along upstairs. Or like part of my job is I'm a pipe welder, and like I can't work for a few hours a day. My buddy's a pipe welder. And then you're like, oh, this person like is actually injured, because you're not asking the right question to get the right answer from the person. If you're just saying like, oh, so-and-so, like my toe hurts.
Yeah.
Well, that doesn't give me the full scope of what's going on. And I understand that there's like pre-qualifiers and stuff like that, but I see all the time people will be like, I hate that people they call my firm and they ask me these questions. And so from now on, you have to do this crazy questionnaire in order to get, okay, cool. But like, that's not a good way to like conduct your business.
This is great. So this is another thing I hear from lawyers a lot. Like, there's this, you got to thread this needle, because some people, they want to, like, I think most attorneys would be like, let me get this person hooked into my business. And I don't want to ask too many questions that's going to piss them off and they're going to go find another law firm. But then I want to get information. And do I ask those questions later? So initial intake, like, is there a sweet spot in terms of the number of questions you ask? Like, what can you hold off on and ask later? Like, what are your thoughts on that? Do you talk to people about that too?
100%.
Okay.
And this is where I go back to like where we're consultative, is because this is more of a common problem than I would even think. Because if you spend time online, you're only really at like interacting with people who are online, like chronically and like tech solution oriented.
Right.
So people will ask like, how many questions should I ask? What questions should I ask? And I think the most important thing to get in contact with people is like, what's your name? What's your phone number in case we get disconnected? Right? Cover that base.
Yeah.
And then I would start with I always say 4 to 5, but the 4 to 5 most important facts that you need to know about the particular type of area that you're talking about. But it shouldn't just be a questionnaire. Like, you shouldn't be like, check yes if this, check, like, make it a conversation. Like, you know what I mean? Like, why are you calling me today? Oh, well, this was the scenario that happened. And like, let people talk, not just ask them yes or no questions.
Yeah.
Otherwise, you're just bombarding them with questions. Like, this person doesn't understand me at all, isn't listening, doesn't care about my issue.
They want to be able to be like, yeah, I have an issue that you didn't even help me with. Now I need to get that off my chest. That's a big deal.
Think about, like, if you call the plumber, they wouldn't go through like a checklist of like, is it your pipes? Is it this? Is it that? You call them, they'd be like, oh, what type of problem are you dealing with? And it's like, I clogged the toilet again because I like to use Dude Wipes. Shout out to Dude Wipes, sponsor of Jared Correia's podcast. If not, you should sponsor them. But like, I like to use Dude Wipes, and they say they're flushable, but they're really not. And and now my whole cesspool's collapsed.
Now this whole thing is fucked. But I have to ask, Dude Wipes, like, what is that all about?
Truly,
yeah.
It's like, do you know Liquid Death? You ever heard of this?
Liquid Death is like a drink, isn't it?
Yeah, but I'm big into marketing, and so it's like a really hilarious way to get toxically masculine men to use scented baby wipes.
Is that what it is? Okay.
Dude, you can go to the store and just buy like flushable wipes, and like, don't do that because it's bad for your cesspool. Like, I really just don't do it. But Dude Wipes, like, I'm really big into marketing.
It's baby wipes? Is that really what it is?
I swear to God, it's just baby wipes, but they're like super expensive because, like, think like Axe body spray. You could just get,
that's crazy,
I don't know, like a normal deodorant, and you don't need like $7 can of smelling like a high school locker room.
This is like a thing though.
But it's just marketing.
Like, we want, at the last version of the show, they also have this deodorant that you can use on like your nether regions. Same type of thing. It's just, I don't know, like, I don't need all the parts of my body to smell good. All right, I think
they'll just come out with anything to make money.
We should probably transition. Let me ask you this. You've talked about AI chat, which has been around for a little while, but now you're seeing like AI virtual receptionist services. I don't want to get you in trouble, but I'm sure you guys are working on that at some level. Like, are attorneys interested in that? Are they starting to use that? Is that ready for prime time? Like, what are your thoughts on that?
So I've tested a bunch because, like, to your credit, like, we're working on it. Here's my take, and maybe I'm just an old school type of guy, is I think...
Not if you're using Dude Wipes. Anyway, go ahead.
I'm not paying extra money for some scented Dude Wipes. But I'm like old school, and my true belief is that, especially with AI and like firms that aren't using AI and the whole like jump scare of, you know, your competitors are going to outwork you. I think the people who are going to go the furthest in the age of AI are the people that deliver the best customer service and have the best brand, and customer service is part of your brand. And so that's like human interaction, right? It's not that it's not ready for prime time, because like CallRail is a really good example of somebody that has like an AI voice, and you can use it to answer your phones, and it's a way cheaper solution than like paying a human to do it, because like, think about the cost of hiring somebody that knows how to do all the shit that ChatGPT knows, right?
Right. Or they could speak 187 languages just as a tool. Yeah.
Do I think it's ready for prime time? It's really close. I've tested a lot of them that are really close and really customizable. Obviously, it's way cheaper. For me, I think right now AI is like the hot topic, and everybody wants to use it, and it has so many practical applications. And like, to your credit, right? We're working on something that'll come out eventually when it's ready for us to do it. I see it being a hot topic, and then people getting burned by it and running back to traditional virtual receptions.
My big concern is like attorney-client relationships. And I think it's obviously much more difficult to control an AI tool and put rails on that in terms of like, am I giving legal advice? Did I tell this person I'm representing them and maybe we never have an intake call? Like, those are my big concerns. I don't know if you share those concerns or if you have others, but those are two of my big concerns with AI virtual reception.
I've tested a bunch, and like, I'll tell you, I ghost called like other people's like voice AI crap, and it's not perfect, and it doesn't like, it sounds like AI. Like it's not fooling anybody. They tried to make it sound human.
Right, we're still a little bit in the uncanny valley as well. To your point about customer service and branding.
Yeah, I can prognosticate all I want. That's just my opinion. Again, I've seen a bunch of really impressive ones, and I know people are having success with it for sure. But it's still, I got to tell you, I know what the cost of it is, and I see what people are charging for it. And it's like, sure, it saves you money, but you don't understand what margins are happening on the back end of it.
Can we do like something totally different for my last question for you? You posted the other day on LinkedIn about mental health issues that, people in general and attorneys have. And I think that's a big issue with attorneys that nobody likes to talk about. Like, nobody wants to talk about being depressed or upset or whatever. Like, do you have tips for attorneys who may be experiencing mental health issues and how to get out of that?
I absolutely do, but I'm only going to speak from personal experience.
That's fine. And we can extrapolate. I don't know if a lot of people know this about me at this point, but like, before I started my consulting company, I worked for a free consulting services in Massachusetts. And basically we had like a psychiatric component to that. So I see a lot of lawyers come through. They'd have practice management issues. But the thing is, a lot of that was based on some mental health struggles they were going through. So the floor is now yours.
I appreciate that. Obviously, this is important to me. I'm a person who struggled with depression, anxiety, burnout, all that stuff. And I also exist in a world of a 12-step program where a lot of the calls that I get are people that are dealing with a lot of those similar issues and not wanting to be here and
right. Yeah.
That sort of thing. So I have experience with it. I'll say this, that what works for me is like all the stuff that people tell you to do that doesn't sound like it's going to work for you. Like, when you're in it, you're like, I don't want to fucking meditate. I don't want to get a therapist. I don't want to go outside. I don't want to eat healthy. But like, I'll make it really simple. Do one thing for yourself, one thing, and see how it feels, right? Like, reach out to one person and see how that affects your mood. I started with a 3-minute, it's called Emergency Calm on the Calm app. There's free stuff everywhere.
Right.
There's cheap therapy. And if you're a lawyer and you're really struggling, I have a really good relationship with a few people. The Legal Burnout Solution, which is Cynthia Sharp and Becky Howlett. Dina Lefkowitz put me in touch with a wonderful woman named Courtney Skolnick, who is a former practicing attorney turned mindfulness coach at the Jefferson Mindfulness Practice. And like, there's a lot, like iWill is out there for lawyers. There's a lot of organizations that will help lawyers like learn how to live better lives. And I'm going to be so real when I say this, like, if you're a lawyer, you have enough money, and if somebody you cared about was suffering, you would enable them with money, time, energy to help them get better. You have to do that for yourself. Like, I had to put it in perspective that, like, if my wife or my dog were experiencing something, I love my dog more than anybody in the whole world, I would pay out of my pocket to make things happen for them. And so I had to invest in myself. And if you need any pointing in the right direction, I am always available. So call me, email me, and I will help you.
Hey man, that's awesome. And I appreciate your willingness to talk about it, because not everybody wants to do that.
I appreciate you asking me about it, because that shows that you're a real one.
I try to be. And then, like you talked about, there's tons of resources out there. There are also some free state-based resources as well. All right. Will you stick around for more fun in our next segment?
I think this will be even more fun. So yeah.
Great. Thank you. We'll be right back with Nick. Welcome back, everybody. That's right. We've arrived at the Counter Program. It's a podcast within a podcast. This is a conversational space where we can address usually unrelated topics that I want to explore at a greater depth with my guest. Expect no rhyme and very little reason. Nick, in keeping with what we talked about before, I named a segment after you. We're calling it Hard Work. Work, W-E-R-K, because I love puns. Okay, the object of the game is simple. I'm going to name a job title and provide you with a description of the work. And all you have to do is pick from 3 options to tell me how much someone makes doing this job.
Okay.
Pretty easy, right?
I love it.
Okay.
It's like The Price is Right, except for I'm not
Except for
confident.
not at all.
So-
Okay.
Yeah.
I got 6 for you. We'll start with the least aggressive and we'll roll down from there. Okay. Job number 1 is a bed warmer. Bed warmer. Here's the description. In some high-class hotels, particularly in colder climates, a bed warmer is a human person who literally gets into a guest's bed before they do to warm it up. And they may wear a special jumpsuit to do it. I've never come across a hotel bed warmer before, and I don't know if I would want one. I think there are probably better ways to do this, but that is an actual job.
I feel like you could just have the mattress have some sort of heating apparatus in it. But I'm gonna say,
Right.
because rich people
Are you just gonna guess the rate of pay without me even giving you examples or suggestions? Kudos to you if you are.
Oh, you're gonna give me options. That's
Yeah.
right. Oh yeah, no, I'm not.
Yeah.
No, I'm not going off the dome.
So, does a bed warmer make $34,000 a year, $52,000 a year, or $80,000 a year? 34, 52, 80 in U.S. currency. Bed warmer.
I'm not gonna lie to you. And this is my same opinion that I was gonna say before. Rich people will pay extra money, I think, to exploit people.
Oh, sure.
And
Yeah.
I'm going to say
Let's do it. Eat the rich.
that the smartest of us in the world have figured out that only you need to lay in a bed and have excess body heat for the low price of $80,000.
Oh, good guess, man. That was great reasoning, but it's 52,000. Okay.
All right.
Let's move on. Iceberg mover is the next job. Would have come in handy back in the day with the Titanic. Iceberg mover. This job, primarily carried out by the Canadian Coast Guard and private companies, involves using tugboats and other specialized vessels to tow or push icebergs away from shipping lanes and oil rigs to prevent collisions. Seasonal job, as you might imagine. How much do I make as an iceberg mover? $25 an hour, $100 an hour, or $150 an hour? Iceberg
Ooh, that's
moving.
Big range.
Yeah, it's a
but
wide swath, I know.
Jack wouldn't have had to let go of the wooden plank. And I bet that the funding from this comes from the Jack and Rose Foundation.
Memorial Foundation, yes.
Yeah. I bet you Leonardo DiCaprio donates a portion of his very large income every year to this. I am going to say that you need a big amount of equipment. And again, I'm going with, because you picked option B last time, $100 an hour to move icebergs.
$25 an hour.
But to move an
Can you
iceberg?
believe that shit? That's nuts.
To move an
That's
iceberg?
nuts. Yeah. It's crazy. So
You got to negotiate.
I learned this the other day. Hopefully not a lot of icebergs have to be moved. I've been watching a lot of Titanic documentaries on YouTube to like the chagrin of my children. But basically, like, they have the Canadian Coast Guard goes out and they map where the dangerous ice areas are in the North Atlantic. So basically they telegraph ships and they're like, hey, don't go in these areas. And when they don't, there's like been no iceberg related crashes for like the last 120 years or whatever. So maybe it's just not a thing that people do on a regular basis.
Also, iceberg education, has come a long way.
Yeah.
We know now that it may look like this, but it's really like this.
Iceberg education. Yes, sir. All right, we're going to do 5. I'm going to skip one because I like this one better. Here's our next job. Hot dog leg inspector. Do you want to have a guess at what that is? Would you like me to read the description?
Yeah, can I? Okay, hot dog leg inspector is one of those
It's
people.
a real job.
No, I'm going to make this up. I'm actually going to make this up. They moderate social media for people who post their legs.
Oh, shit.
You ever see this?
That's good stuff. Yeah.
They moderate social media and make sure that you're not posting some nude content on these censored sites.
Too high up the leg. All right.
And they make sure that they are hot dogs, not legs. That's what they do.
That is an excellent guess. Unfortunately, nowhere near what it actually is. But this is kind of gross. I learned this the other day. So, a leg on a hot dog is an uneven end of the hot dog, or a bulge at the end of the hot dog, which is just nasty. So basically what these people do is they take the hot dogs and they will review occasional hot dogs as they come down the assembly line, and they will snap them to make sure that they have the right snap that you're supposed to have on a hot dog if you break it in two. And they look for these legs and they take them off the assembly line, basically. It's basically just like quality control.
That I Love Lucy episode.
Yes, exactly.
Except with hot dogs.
I love that we're talking about I Love Lucy. That's perfectly my demographic. Okay. So if I was a hot dog leg inspector, am I making $25,000, $35,000, or $45,000 a year? Hot dog leg inspector. 25, 35, 45. What do you think? Take your time.
I'm going to say that Oscar Mayer, Sabret, Hebrew National, I'm going to have faith in all of you that you're paying your people for the quality hot dogs that you produce, $45,000 a year.
Yes.
Final answer.
Hell yes. Correct. I do.
I said Alex. I meant Regis.
I love Hebrew National hot dogs, by the way. Greatest hot dogs ever.
Hebrew National?
Oh, yeah.
I'm a Sabret man.
Okay. That's fair. All right, I got two more for you, and we're going to get a little weird. Weird Earth? Okay. This job is a tokay. A tokay. In some parts of Mexico, particularly at bars and street events, individuals known as tokays offer small controlled electrical shocks to people, often to sober them up. Clients hold the electrodes and the tokays control the intensity. Have you heard of this before? You're like, yes.
I have not.
I've done it.
I have not, but I need it.
Like, I could see this. I walk out of a bar. I'm like, feeling a little bit off. Then I just get electric shocked back into sobriety. So if you happen to be a tokay, would you be making $100 a night, $250 a night, or $750 a night?
Again, I'm going to go into the psychology of who would pay for such a thing.
Please do. Yes.
I'm going to say that drunk people don't understand the concept of saving money. I just read a whole thing about Malcolm Gladwell about the how you become your truest version of yourself when you're inebriated because part of your brain shuts off. I am going to say $250 a night because most people will refuse to be electroshocked, but the people that do want to be electroshocked will pay enough money for it for you to make $250.
That's why I love having people on the legal field on the show, which I say regularly, because the analysis level for this stuff is amazing. It's actually $100 a night. All right.
Still not bad.
I got one more for you. Last one. A panda fluffer.
Hell yeah.
Well, let me explain. We're not hugging pandas. We're preparing them for breeding.
Oh.
At panda breeding centers, this job involves trying to encourage shy pandas to mate. This can include a variety of methods, sometimes involving feather dusters to stimulate the pandas and get them in the mood. It's critical for conservation of the endangered species. It's like a fluffer, but for pandas. So you're just out there tickling with the feather duster.
It's crazy.
This job probably cannot pay enough, really. But what do you think a panda fluffer is making? $35,000, $50,000, or $75,000 a year? $35,000, $50,000, or $75,000?
I got to tell you, one of my mottos my whole life, maybe because my last name is Werker, is that if you pay me enough money, I will shovel elephant shit. I have been heard to say this many a time.
Yeah.
Quote me on it. Panda fluffer, I was really hoping is somebody who combed the hair of pandas and made them more attractive at zoos.
It's not that at all.
And so I do not revoke my hell yeah about panda fluffing. I am all for the conservation of pandas, and I am all for pandas getting laid.
Same. Same.
I'm going to say, because of the danger of dealing with a panda.
I feel like there's danger involved here. Yeah.
I do. Pandas are big. I'm pretty sure they like are crazy.
Panda erections flying across the enclosure.
I'm going to be optimistic and say that if you are involved in the eroticism of pandas, you are making $75K.
Sadly, you're not even making close to that. You're making $35,000 a year. Rough stuff.
For all that danger.
You remember the Simpsons?
Maybe you just love pandas.
You remember the Simpsons episode where Homer dressed up as a panda and got in the enclosure, and he was wearing a panda suit, and he was molested by the pandas, and then Marge is talking to him afterwards, and he's like, "I'm naked and reeking of panda love."
You know what's crazy is as I've watched every episode of The Simpsons and every episode of South Park and like every episode of Seinfeld, and when it comes time for somebody to make a reference,
you're like, I don't remember that.
Me about those things, I'm like, never seen it before.
All right, I got some YouTube clips to send you when we're done here. But
I'm looking forward to it.
Nick, tremendous performance on the show today in several capacities. Truly the hardest worker in command in the legal tech space. Thank you for coming on. We'll have to do it again sometime.
Thanks for having me on and letting me let my freak flag fly.
That's what we do here. Thanks again to our guest. That was Nick Werker of Answering Legal. To learn more about Answering Legal, visit answeringlegal.com. That's answeringlegal.com. Now, because I'll always be a 90s kid whose Pog collection was almost non-existent, but whose true passion was burning CDs for anyone who would listen, I'm not just doing the modern version of that, which is creating Spotify playlists for every podcast episode that I record, where the songs are tangentially related to an episode topic. This week's playlist is Songs About Phone Calls. That seems appropriate. And it's sponsored by Lionel Richie's bust from the 1983 music video for his song Hello. That was less long-winded when I was drafting it. I'm just kidding, by the way. I don't even think that's an actual product, but I wish it was. I'd buy one and place it prominently somewhere in my home, perhaps behind me, right next to the ghost, flipping double birds. Join us next time when I apply to become a panda fluffer. I have my feather duster all ready to go. See you next time.